Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to episode 127, I believe, on my Let's Play. I'm IVATOPIA, by the way. Torment Tides of Numenera, how do you say it? Okay, I was going to reload it, but I forgot when you die you come here. So when I go back, they may not be in combat with me, and I don't know. We're going to see.
Alright.
I don't think there's anything else to say to me, do they? While I'm here quick. Yeah.
Go.
I go back. Because they're going to be, what? He's up again! Hopefully the combat stopped. If not, I have to reload. What the? They locked us out.
Come back to pay life a visit? I knew you would.
From near the doors panel through, you can see no speaker or vent. Oh, well, the enemies never will come in again. Sealed to you. Even after we are gone, may the stars be blind to your misfortunes. Oh, okay, so yeah, I do need to reload. Okay. So that's before I did it. So how do we get in this? So basically, you have one shot. You screw up. You don't die. Good to know. But you have this place locked off from you and all this knowledge. Like, it's just wait for him not to see and I can get out. So I can just leave. But he won't take me on a tour. What about that guy in the middle? Because he was an officer. Because I can't really separate them either. You know, like on the Wasteland, I could say put him over here, you could chat with him quick. Or do just try to smash it out. Maybe if I smash it out, it was end. Ooh, there's something. Examines the contents of the open hatch in the console before him. Brow contorted. Occasionally, he takes a tiny component from the tiny pile beside him, plugs it into the machine's unseen innards. Waits a hopeful moment and mutters, "What is most like a curse?" He spots you and gives you a refuel grin of unsuccessful repairmen everywhere. Hello, it's good too. He chews his lip, thinking good to come. He watches your expression carefully, then sighs and touches his forehead, then his lips, and then shakes his head. Speak slow, please, I hear, try. Doing. He squints at your mouth, then nods. I fix, he snorts. Try fix, he chuckles at himself. Again, not fix. Tell me what you're doing. What are these controls for? He plants one hand at the set of controls. I give information on stars. He drops his hand on the other set. It's listen to stars for voices. For home, he stands straight. Yeah, but if you get up to get home, they probably give it us. So they don't need it then. When ship comes, ship speaks. He waves a hand in motion you recognise as this isn't really what I mean, but I can't remember the words gestured. I hear first tone or me. He smacks his chest with an open hand, grinning. He pauses, his hand slipping from his chest, indicates a small section of controls he didn't touch before. It's for codex maintenance. Cha-ching, codex! Says dismissively. Apparently, his job doesn't cover the area of Archenroll rage. Get what you're doing? Does codec maintenance involve? Smiles widen. You get a feeling that people don't usually take that much of interest in this man's work. Ginger does most. Me, wait for light here. He points and then presses button here. He chuckles at himself. It's difficult work. Need concentration. He makes furious show of concentrating on the light and pressing the button with a finger. He chuckles again, then shrugs. Without button, no remove codex. So it's a important button. No remove! Oh, so even if I asked him, he couldn't do it anyway. You're doing. What does codex mean? Okay. Huh. Let me look. So there's a bewildering array of displays, units, buttons, and switches. Ooh! If I help him fix a button, we need to test the button works. I remove it. He gives me permission. It works. Good job. And then we leave with it. Oh, this could be it. Console has a bewildering array of displays, unlit the buttons and switches, all helpfully labelled with words in a language you don't understand. Much of it is covered in a slight layer of dust, as if most of the console is rarely, if ever, used by nearby Alaskans. Screen shows a map that looks vaguely familiar. Examine the controls, examine the familiar map on the display. It takes you a good while of staring before you realise why the map looks familiar. It's a top-down view of Little NASA. The moor is marked and the greatest details are close to it. Probably the map is being generated by sensors that are projecting through it, not protecting it, projecting through it. Strangely, there's a flashing marker in one corner of the map from the moor. You guess it's to be about 30 paces to the right, past the exit to the vast interior. It's a small cul-de-sac of trash. We just found something, haven't we? So what's that? From the moor. There's a flashing marker in one corner of the map. From the moor. The moor what we opened, I'm sure you talk about. Guess it'll be about 30 paces to the right, past the exit to the vast interior. Yeah, it is like Nasha, so there's some kind of trash I need to check out. Examine the controls. You lean over the console, taking care to not press any buttons by accident. You notice before much of the device is covered in dust. On screen, on the side, however, it's completely clean, and buttons beside it are marked with dusty fingerprints. Down the map. I can't do anything to it. Seriously?
Let's go.
Okay, so it's given us some information. It was good, but is that useful? You know, the other thing is just force it out.
Fine.
I don't think there's anything else I can do in here. Unless there's a button for this. Let's go and check it out quick.
Alright.
Before we try this again. Because unless I can force it out, I don't see us getting it out.
Happy to help.
And getting out of here with them attacking us, I don't know if it's possible. I'm hoping if you get the codex out, then I'll just go, you've screwed it up, you know. Or somehow the power surge will knock them all down or something. That's what I was hoping. Or it could shut them down.
To action.
It says... Oh, it's not that, is it? Because I already had that. It said right. But it said past the interior. Okay, maybe it's in here.
Yes.
And then on the right,
Happy to help.
you said through trash.
Ready.
Let's have a quick look. Because one of the options, like I said, is to try that thing again. Unless the yanking works. What's this? The weight's a little nasher and difficult to understand.
Let's do it.
Right, this one. Huh? Did I miss that before? There was a place there. Unless that's what it's talking about. Oh. Yeah, I've been here, haven't I?
All right.
Slab of petted stone sits in the centre of the shrine, happy with a moultry display offerings. Judging by the accumulated dust and filth, it's been here for decades, long as how many offerings. Checked on the slabs are a bizarre mixture of trophies left by visitors to the shrine. Many of the offerings appear to be food of the most ghastly nature. Canted eyeballs, amputated fingers and claws, and the little cakes and pies, ew, and puddings made from other unidentifiable organs. Wow. Probably all harvested from vanquished foes. You also see broken weapons, severed limbs, and a scattering of silver items, little parts, cutlery, and buttons, and other discarded scraps of metal. People have obviously been leaving their offerings here for some time, and everything is a jumbled mess. Perception. Your sharp eyes catch sight of a tiny bloom tentacle that snakes along the surface of the slab, attaching themselves to the offerings, then writhe and undulate as if feeding upon them. Yet the offerings bear no physical signs that they've been touched. deserve respect. In a shadowy corner of the shrine lurks an old woman, so tiny and unremarkable that she blends into the gloom. She's been watching you since you arrived, following you with bright, intense eyes. You notice that one of her arms is missing and at the elbow. Greetings. The whispers told me you were coming, Cast-off. They often do. When someone they regard as interesting finds their way to the bloom. Her voice is soft and shifting, as if everything she says is echoed by the chitting voices of the bloom. Suddenly she is at your side. One small hand touching your arm, her eyes probe yours. Did you come here with purpose? Do you know what place this is? You realize that the shrine does feel familiar, as if you, or perhaps the changing god, have been here before. Try to remember before I answer. Tell me how you know about cast-offs. The whisper told me. They talk to themselves mostly, but they don't mind if I listen. She cocks her head bird-like, her eyes strained to your cast-off tattoos. You're not the first of your kind to hide in the bloom. The others were drawn by fear or instinct or the unconscious knowledge that the thing that hunts you cannot follow, for death has no place here, only hunger. Now I've answered your question, will you answer mine? She gestures around. Do you know this place? Try to remember. 9% good chance. Yes. You scan the room, searching for anything that might seem familiar. A metallic gleam catches your eyes from the nearby slab of stone. It lies partly buried beneath a mouldy pile of offerings, but the unusual shape of the metal sparks a memory. Holy fudge. The old woman follows your gaze. He left that as an offering. Your sire did when he was here. You can almost feel the weight of the device in your hand. With a sudden jarring clarity, you see the chamber as it was 40 years past, when a changing god stood before a group of robbed bloom cultists, offering the device in trade for information, perception, and in the corner an elderly woman bird-like with shiny eyes. This woman you just met, or someone much like her, was at the shrine too. He pored over every scroll, she whispered, half to herself, wanting to learn how Chile forced a friendship with the bloom, a bond that imposed no price upon her, or so he thought. Got to unlock the streams, great, okay. And now here you are in the shrine of Chile the Great, Chile Silverskin, Chile the bride of the hammer, and I am her servant. Speak. When the changing god was here, what did he want from the bloom? To create a portal to another world, a place called the Ascension. Okay, that's where we need to go. He believed that the crystals of that would save him from death, so he descended to the bloom's heart and forged a bond of swords from that bond. So when you get to the heart and to get to Ascension, bonds of sword from that bond, a new more was born. It took your sire to the world he sought. Okay, so we got to create a new more to take us out. Okay. So we can get to the heart. She pauses her lips. But for every bond, the bloom always extracts a prize. If it could not feast upon your sire, then it will find a way to devour one of his offspring. More than one, perhaps. Her eyes glare. Basically yours. What can you tell me about Chile? Stories, she mumbles. Passed from one spectre to the next. So many stories. Told by so many tongues. Too many to hold in my head. But the bloom remembers, and it whispers in my ears to remind me. Tell me where Chile came from. The speck closes her eyes and cocks her head like a bird, as if listening to the voices of the bloom. As she begins to speak, the faint chitters and whispers that always underline her words grow louder and twisting then around in your head and spawning images in your mind's eye. Look up, high on the cliffs, a sturdy little house. The cliffs are Cypress flash before your eyes, not flash. Eyes crowded with old ramshackle homes that cling to the rocks like spiny crabs high above the sea. One of them catches your eye, a pretty little house, freshly painted blue and green, a solid nook of stone. A man and woman dwell inside, a father and mother, 2 children that have a girl and a boy. Now you can see the people too. The girl is tall for her age, robust and strong. Her brother is small and cautious and quick. Keep listening, no more stories from now. Keep listening. One day the father pulls the treasure from the sea. You can see the man is is in a fishing boat, hauling a silver cylinder out of his net, looking at it in wonder. He brings it home to his family. What shall I do with this artifact, he wonders, for I am a simple man, not a wizard or a sage. The man glances out the window of his house and sees two children playing in the street. Artifacts bring trouble, he says to himself, and I have a family to protect. I bring this treasure to the boss of the town, and she will thank me for it. So the next day, the man gathers the treasure in a sack and sets out for a manor. At the top of the cliffs, his daughter, Chile, wants to go with him, but he shakes his head and goes alone. Keep listening? Okay. For many weeks past, the man never returns from the manor on the hill. Chile asks everyone she knows, but no one has seen her father. One day, just as she and her brother leave their house in the morning, they hear a crash behind them. In your mind's eye, you can see the pretty little house pulling away from the cliff, its wooden supports snapping like twigs, busting apart as it falls towards the sea. It strikes you as strange that this house, seemingly kept so much better than its neighbours, should collapse so suddenly. The children race back along the road, only to find that the house is gone and the mother lies dead among the rocks. As her brother curls up in the street and weeps, Chile stands beside him, gazing toward the manor at the top of the cliff. I know you did this, she whispers, and I know what you did to my father. The treasure you took from him is my birthright, and I will have it back. Okay? This is what drove her. Vengeance. Not vengeance, a desire to be extraordinary. The Spec's voice is quiet again, and whispers recedes, and you sense that these words are truly her own. Chile believed that her parents were easy victims because no one knew who they were. If they had been prominent and well known, the boss of Sagas wouldn't have dared to harm them. But they were small and simple folk, so no one cared when they died. Where again Chile came from? Tell me how Chile found the way to the bloom. Once again, the Spec cocks her head and closes her eyes. When she speaks, this chitters and whispers of the bloom spark images in your mind, and you can almost see the events she describes. Look up. Two orphans climb the cliffs towards the manor high above. In your mind's eye, you see a brother and a sister in their late teen as they scale the sheer cliffs of Sagres. Above them, carved from the natural rock, looms a great walled house. It belongs to a woman, the boss of Sagres and mistress of the bloom. Who killed their parents and took their birthright for herself. The girl is Chile, tall, broad-shouldered, and flamboyantly dressed, like a glittering gem against the dull stone of the cliffs. The boy is her brother Shay, slender and quick, cowled in black. Keep listening. Through the underguard window they climb, slipping into the garden. Beyond there, at its heart, is the artifact, their birthright. In your mind's eye, Chile and Shay crouch on a ledge. You can see the artifact as they must have, a metallic cylinder fitted into the strange device. She leans forward, so eager to see what is rightfully hers, but the ground turns slick and she falls, toppling it into the garden. Close enough to the artifact that she can almost reach, but she's snared in a net of rainbow light. You can see Chile crumbled under the strange net trapped, calling for her brother. Shade watches from the shadows. He makes no move to help. Keep listening. Betrayed, hissed the Spec, led into a trap by her twin. But if she couldn't have the artifact, at least she could touch. The Spec's voice strains, and as it does so, you can feel Chile straining, reaching a hand through the net. As her finger brushes the artifact, it flares with brilliant light, and it is gone. But not gone, not really. It's part of Chile now, changing her slowly from within. She can sense the change, but she doesn't know what it means. Not yet, not as they lead her away. You catch a glimpse of Chile being led in chains from the great house. She casts into the bloom as a slave, and then Spec smiles softly and warns. She meets me. It wasn't really you, right? No, not me. She shakes her head slowly as if she isn't certain of her own words. It was another woman called the Spec. My namesake, the insignificant Spec. That's who she was back then. Tell me again about Chile came, and how Chile found her way to the bloom. Tell me what Chile did with the warranted such respect. In the dark, in the bleeding guts of the bloom, a score of young women crouch in cell carved from the living flesh of the bloom. You can barely see the girls in your mind's eye, thin and tight, huddled against their fleshy wall, bound in chains. Who they are before doesn't matter. They're slaves now, doomed to the labour of the dark. One day someone new is brought to their cell and chained beside a small girl who calls herself the Spec. The old woman smiles. The new slave says her name is Chile. Even in chains, she meets the guard's eyes and they look away. Already the bloom whispers in her ears. Chile places her hands upon its flesh. It strikes a bargain. Keep listening. You owe us, Chili whispers to the Bloom, for the slaves you've eaten, for the speck's arm that you devoured, and you owe us something in return. The flesh trembles beneath her hand. Whispers to Bloom. Oh, so she's seen it also, okay. And opens. Beyond it is a chamber full of weapons. You catch a glimpse of Chili passing blades and strange armaments to the other girls in the cell. Chili picks a glowing hammer for herself, or maybe the Bloom does. It fits her hand like it was made for her, and it never leaves her side again. Then we gather together and make our plan to escape. Keep listening. When all of us are ready, Chili starts hammering on the door to our cell. The guards come running and we fall upon them, cutting them down, tearing them apart. Then Chili leads us from our prison and we pour into the market, gathering more and more slaves to our banner. We kill every master we can find in the market. We decide to make a stand. Chili knows that her enemy, the boss of Cyprus, the woman who killed her parents and turned her brother against her, can't ignore us. We form up into a ragged line, then we hear them, the roar of soldiers, the tread of heavy boots getting closer. Somehow you can hear them too, along with the terrified mumbles of the slaves as they grip their weapons and prepare to fight for their lives. Keep listening. Noise, confusion. The speck's eyes are still closed, but she staggers back, raising a hand to defend herself against an invisible attack, as if she thinks she is the midst of a battle. You can faintly hear the screams and the cries, the clank of the steel on the steel. I stay by Chili's side when the battle is joined. I tried to guard her back, but she struck, first by an arrow, then by a blade. Whatever they cut her flesh, silver scales grow over the wound, and whenever they cut her, silver scales grow over the wound, and she keeps on fighting. Chili knows why. When she touched the artifact, her birthright, it became a part of her, changed her, so that she cannot be killed. She smiles, raises her hammer, crushes the skulls of every soldier who stands against her. A shadow passes overhead. It's her traitorous brother, shades soaring on wings of flesh and steel, come to kill her at last. Keep listening! He strikes her once, twice, and again the speck's voice goes quiet. Each time silver scales grow to cover the wound. Instead of getting weaker, Chili grows stronger. She grabs him by the foot and smashes him into the ground, but instead of killing him, she speaks to him. It's a whisper. I can't hear what she says, but she begins to weep. When she lets him go, he stays on the ground. The battle is won, and the enemy soldiers are running. Chili goes to face the woman who killed her parents. I leave you with your life, she tells her. I leave you with your life, she tells her, but it's not your name. Get out of here and never come back. I can always see the broken woman, a feared warlord only hours before, fleeing alone in shame in the battle. I can notice a lot. The speck pulls and opens her eyes. That's where the story ends. Our enemy fled, and the bloom was ours. Sacred Cliffs was ours. Chili became the first Mervar. We ended the trade in slaves, and Chili ruled Cyprus and all the land around for half a century until the bloom called her to its heart. Chili's enemies, the boss of Cyprus. I covered 23 minutes. This is a long episode. Let's finish this quick. She was forgotten. Some of the slaves said that they followed her, thinking to kill her despite Chili's promise of safe passage, but before they had a chance, she vanished. She escaped to another world, or was eaten by the bloom. A mischievous smile plays on the old woman's lips. I prefer to think the latter. Keep saying as if we were there. He blinks. I see the memories as if I was there, as if I was her. The first speck, but I couldn't have been there. It was too long ago. Bloom called Chili to its heart. What does that mean? That's what I need to get to. It whispers called her, and she disappeared into the depths. Maybe it took her to another world, or maybe it just... she still lives down there. One day she'll return for her speck. I'm sure of that. Ended a trade in slaves, but now it's returned. It's returned. It's a different form, yes. The older slave-holding families bided their time for generations, marrying themselves into new leading families of freed slaves. They found ways to justify slavery as punishment for the wicked. So it is with the wealthy and powerful, they're more like bloom flesh than they care to admit. Stubborn, enduring, difficult to kill. Again about bloom? No. Tell me again. I have some questions. Tell me about Chili again. I want to know more about you. Is this place of worship? I know a young man who needs work. Is there a place for him? Oh, there's that thingy one. That's that quite. Quest updated. The old woman glances about, eyes falling on piles of smelly rags. She bends down, runs a finger along the floor, and finds it covered in grime. A caretaker, perhaps. A strong pair of arms to wield the broom and scrub out rags. I can't promise what I don't have, and by that I mean coin. But he'll have food and a place to sleep. I'll ask the bloom not to eat him. Well, you do that. Is this place of worship? I want to know more. Is this place of worship? Not really. People come here to close to the bloom because it's mined in strong here. They leave offerings. She waves her slums at the nearby slab. Variables are stolen. Trophies of the kills prove that they are hunters, not prey. What sort of people leave offerings? Bloom cultists most of all, but also guides, scavengers, merchants who fear to lose their precious cargo, travellers from the other worlds, and the Maverin. Before she lost the favour of the Bloom, she would heap the offering stone with the heads and hands of those she killed. So hauntingly she was back then, so sure the Bloom loved her and the things would never change. The old woman tasks nothing is forever in the Bloom. What did the Bloom Cutlass believe in? Are you a leader? Who leaves the offerings here again? Swan better thieves and murderers. She shrugs. Sometimes it pays more attention to them. Whenever you want the attention of the Bloom is another question. Who leads option again? Are the leaders of priestess? Bloom Cutlers believe that the Bloom is a god, not a very kind or a benevolent one, of course. She smiles. Some people seek an illusion, a safety of defining the thing that they fear. Are the leader or a priestess? She laughs out loud. Me making speeches, punishing the sinful? No, I'm only a speck. They'll let me stay here and I tell them stories, that's all. I mean, who leaves? Did I have some other questions? About Chile, I want to know. Some more about the shrine. I'm gonna sleep here. If you don't mind the stink of the molding blankets, they won't mind you. She holds out a tiny thing, but hostility has a price for fashion for each get. Okay, no, I got free about that. Never mind, let's talk about something else. Questions about the shrine. Bloom colours, who lives with our friend. Okay, that's it. Okay, nice. And with that, I guess we'll save and end the episode. 27 minutes. Hey, caramba, I didn't realise it was going so much. I was trying to read that fast as well, because I knew the episode was coming up, but I didn't realise I passed it. So anyway, please like, please subscribe, please tune in next time. I've been IVATOPIA. Have a great, wonderful day out there, and next time we come back, I guess I'll try and talk to these people and work out a way, put it in the comments if you know, how to get that codex. Anyway, see you next week, everyone.